Would you look at that? It's this guy. Yeah, right outside my window. That's awesome. Why is he here? I don't know. Don't much like it. Let's see if he'll go away. Go? Okay. Alright, I'm done with this. Alright, we'll give it one more try. Nope. Okay, we're done.
Welcome to Demasked. My name is Fresman, and today I'm joined by Evil Outcast. How's it going?
Going pretty good. I hope you're doing a good day. Frack. I hope you're doing good today too.
Trust me, I do that same thing in some of my videos. Yeah, it's going great. So from what I can see here, you're a horror narrator on YouTube.
That is correct.
So what made you want to start that?
That's kind of a funny story. Because originally I didn't start off listening to horror narrations until I discovered it around 2013, 2012, and Slender and Sonic.exe and all them started popping up out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And the first creepypasta that I've heard about was from. Oh, I gotta turn off my thing. And the first creepypasta was regrettably Sonic.exe because at the time I didn't know anything about Slender. I thought it was just something like how do I say, like one of those waifu game simulators, and I was like, ugh. And everybody was playing with it, but that's when I heard the term creepypasta, and I started looking over this. I was like, oh wow, it all involves horror, my favorite genre. Yeah, of course it's everybody's favorite genre, but it's not everybody's cup of tea. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
And I saw a few people, which we don't know is Mr. Creepypasta, Creeps, McPasta, Creepypasta Jr., Creepy Joe Pasta, Joe Schmo Pasta, wherever, doing all these narrations. I was like, wow. They actually do this kind of thing, and they don't even show their faces. And it's like, oh, this might be something I do, because back in high school, I always always had like a sexy voice. I mean, I didn't really hear it myself, but yeah, it's their ears. If they're going deaf, then I don't know what it is. Anyways, so I figured I'd give it a try and everything, because when I was a little kid, I used to do tape recordings of my voice, acting all weirded stuff and everything, talking a bunch of shit, which I lost those tapes because I didn't like the sound of my own voice, but that's how I got started in 2013 with my first video, how to succeed in publishing without even trying. I mean, granted, the audio wasn't good. I mean, it wasn't really the first good choice of starting off, but hey, we all got to appreciate where we started off.
I mean, even then, you gotta start somewhere. Like, I think that's what stops a lot of people from making YouTube channels, is like, well, where do I start? Well, you just have to go for it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's where most narrators don't either stumble or fall, or just like show their true side and become maniacal assholes, is that they don't appreciate how they start off. I mean, say for instance, I started off with not with a phone, not with a built-in microphone in my CPU tower, but I used a Logitech webcam with a built-in microphone. How hood rich is that? But yeah, But I've been doing narrations for like since 2013. I can't really. Uh, should be coming up to what, like 17, 18 now? No, 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 wait. Yeah, 18 years now. Because
Mm.
my 10-year anniversary was in. Oh no, I'm coming up to my 10-year. I'm going to be coming up to my 10-year anniversary, to be honest, because now that I think about it. Sorry, blonde
Mm.
moment.
It's all good.
Yeah. And I don't know what to do for my 10th anniversary. Do a live stream, do a mega collab. I don't know. We'll figure something out. But
So I'm.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, what?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna ask. I'm looking over this grid of past videos. Do you have a favorite that you've already covered?
I would have to say, and I would have to say my past video or video series that I've done, which I have to re-upload because the No Sleep Watchdogs pretty much were on my ass about not asking permission, which at the time I thought it was okay because I thought it was just like free to use, which I learned my lesson correctly. But my favorite
Mm-hmm.
series was Finding Vanessa, and of course it's a little different from what MCP did. Like his was more fast talking 1950s detective work, where mine was all like gritty and I would say Sin City esque. But that was my
Mm.
favorite. Another one that I recently did was Eyes of a Killer, which I played the part out right and everything, pretending to be this. Well, not pretending to be, but going inside of a mind of a killer, which turned out to be,
Mm.
spoiler alert, a dream and everything, and it just goes back to him being a normal man and everything, and just being a husband, being a father, and everything, and come to find out that his wife has a job downtown in the same area he committed the murder. So it was
Mm.
one of those premonitic. I don't know how to say it, but premonitic type stories.
Okay. Yeah.
And and one more, and I'll stop from there. Is called Forever a Drug, which is not safe from work. It's by the amazing and talented Michael Moore. No, Nick Moore. Nick Moore. Nick Moore. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Hmm.
It pretty much tells how one drug can make you go back in time when you feel like you're going back in time and reliving the same same lifetimes that you've experienced before taking the drug, and it's pretty much a trip until this character figures it out. Not character, the main protagonist tries to do something about it, and it's a very good tale. And I suggest everybody go to my channel and check it out.
Yeah, and a link to your channel will be in the description below.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I gotta send you my link, don't I? All right.
But this all like I love seeing like these sort of stories that are read by narrators coming out of YouTube because some of them are like I've heard ones where it's like, oh, it's killer out in the woods or it's a shapeshifter, but then some of them are like just some of the ideas behind them. There was one that was like, God, there was one I heard years ago. It was some sort of like endless looping dream, and it was just made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard of that one. Who narrated that one?
That's a good question. I think it might have been B Busta, but I'm not totally sure.
It's been a while since I listened to B Busta.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, I would listen to just anybody's narrations.
Yeah. Oh, same here. I mean, I got like a playlist of all my favorite narrators in my channel,
Mm.
and usually I fall asleep to them. Like, help me fall asleep and give me nightmares at the same time. Everybody wins.
So do you plan on kind of continuing forward with narrations, or are you gonna like move forward into other things?
Um, well, I'm definitely gonna keep my narration channel up and everything, and
Mm.
I'm gonna continue more as long as I'm able to try to find a balance between taking care of my kid and trying to help others out with their channels. Because
Mm-hmm.
I've turned into this some sort of producer where I
Mm.
help somebody either record through OBS or I help them make their videos free of charge because
Mm.
we're buddies. Yay. But I'm hoping maybe because when I narrate a story, I get into the mind of a character, what they're feeling, what they're thinking, and I try to act it out using voice acting. Like if I was an evil killer, I would sound like this, or if I was a gritty detective, I'd sound like this, or maybe if I was a innocent woman, I would sound like this, something like that. I mean, because
Mm.
from what I see it, when you're reading a story, you gotta look inside of it.
Mm.
Because I know some people use their emotions and everything, which is also key, but you also got to remember that acting is also key. You know, taste it,
Mm.
smell it, go through it.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting. Well, I thought it was kind of funny way back when I would listen to like Lazy Masquerade, and you'd hear, you know, you'd hear this somewhat deep voice go, "I'm a 23-year-old woman." I'm just like,
Yeah.
like,
Well, I say to some narrators to each their own, but also
yeah,
don't try to be a douchebag about it.
yeah. And I think it's interesting when stories are picked like for their subject matter more so than the characters that are in it. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Trying to get into the character's mind is a rare commodity nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. What? Well, I've been very surprised in the time that I've been doing this show because I've run into a lot of horror narrators, and I'm surprised at both the amounts and how many are willing to kind of sit and talk with you.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Well, it seems that the horror community, like even as far out as narrations, are an incredibly open community to be in.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm seeing a lot more and more people coming out. Well, not coming out per se, but I'm not. I don't mean to
Mm.
offend anybody out there, but I mean more
Mm-hmm.
like coming out to doing what they love doing, and we're trying to be more nightly tight. No, I wouldn't say. Shoot. We become more tight knit to where we come together as a
Mm.
family, and more than just a family, we are
Yeah.
one. And like I said earlier, there are been some eggs that have been turned bad or either shown their true colors
Mm-hmm.
and want to start drama.
Yeah.
And to me, I wouldn't. I would say that they're going through a little time in their little minds, but at the same time, when's the next time they're going to act like that? Like 2 weeks later, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just glad that we can all come together and try to work with one another and be friends with each other and everything. Not just through collabs, but also through communication. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, and like even like I believe think I'm in your Discord server. I know I'm in a couple of Discord servers that have to do with narration channels, and it's interesting to see just the fairly consistent support when somebody's like, "Hey, I've got a new video premiering in a couple minutes," and everybody's like, "All right, I'm there."
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that's.
It's.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, it's incredibly interesting to see, and I don't think I've seen it that much out of really any other communities so far, at least.
Yeah.
I'm open to be proven wrong.
Well, we do what we can to help each other out, and that includes promoting each other's videos or podcast or let's plays or whatever they do in their careers and their YouTube careers and everything. I mean, that's how we do it here. I mean, just like the other night, I believe it was me and another friend, Cage Misery, who helped me break out of my shell of being a recluse back in like I would say 2-3 years later. 2 years ago. 2-3 years ago. Why do I say later? Like I'm jumping forward. But we were talking, and our resident promoter, which we all know is Creepy Clown Girl, added, I believe, you and Weekly Creeps, and we just started coming together. And I believe we all started coming together talking about this spaghetti western comedy story that we were in there talking about and everything. I don't know if you were.
Oh yeah. I need to catch up on that. I've been falling behind.
Yeah, I don't even know what the hell is going on in that story anymore. Because I mean, I've seen some people talk about it, but mostly talk about other shit. But I don't even know how that's going right now. But
I'll have to go back and see if there's been any changes to the script.
yeah.
I think when most of that was being written, it was over like the one night that it was being written. I think I was drunk.
Well, you were lucky. I didn't have anything to drink at that night. Like,
well, like somebody would go, "Hey, can somebody like read all this so we can catch up?" I'm like, "I'll read it."
yeah, I remember that night. No, I also remember somebody saying, I'm going to feel really sorry for the poor bastard that has to read this story.
I'll read it. Put it on my channel, damn it.
Right? But that was one example of everybody coming together, just making up shit, making up characters, putting together a story, just basically shooting the shit. I mean, and that's my kind of unity that I like, that most people don't see anymore. I mean, granted, I've seen, like, back in the heydays when YouTube was allowing everybody to live stream via Google Hangouts, which we can't do it anymore because for reasons unknown, but that's their business. But I remember doing a live stream on my channel celebrating King Misery's birthday, and it was a big turnout. And everybody wished her a happy birthday, and I got to release her birthday bonfire get-together on her channel. I'm hoping it's still on her channel. I mean, I'll give you the link to her channel if she still has it up, but but it was a big thing. I mean, all narrators came together, all friends. That's what I'd like to see. Unity, whether through live stream or just like a little private chat that we do in our Discords.
Well, that's that sort of the idea of that is sort of why I really like doing YouTube, because from what I've seen, unfortunately, it seems like more of a numbers game for some reason. I lost a couple subscribers, or hey, this video is not getting as many views. But then there's the vast majority of like the horror and narration community that's like, I really like this story, and I put it out there because I I wanted to record it and put it out there, you know?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are fickle about that, and especially when it comes to when they're seeing their sub count or whatever, or they're seeing, or after they hit that 1K, which is the norm nowadays because of reasons, they just tend to worry when their next paycheck is going to come, which which from what I've heard isn't going to be much, especially with what's going on with the pandemic and everything. but
Mm-hmm.
but my philosophy is, if you're doing it for all the money and all the fame and more or less all the bitches, you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
The YouTube sponsored bitches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what? I sometime later on down the road, if I ever do a live action version of Demasked, I'm just gonna turn to the camera and go, "This episode's sponsored by bitches." So, what's your favorite kind of horror?
The usual murder and crime, monsters, a little bit of mixture of both. You know? Yeah. And nothing's wrong with a good murder mystery. You know?
Yeah. I tend to lean more towards like the stories and movies and whatnot that involve a person instead of an entity or a demon or something like that.
Yeah, I think the only type of horror stories that got played out too much was, and I'm probably gonna get some flack for it, but I don't really care. But the whole "Let's Not Meet" and the whole cryptid story thing, you know, yeah. I mean, I thought about doing some Wendigo stories and all that stuff, but once everybody started doing it, I was like, no, I can't do that, because I don't know if anybody knows this, but I like to break out of the norm, you know, like stay away from the in crowds and everything, and try to do my own thing.
Yeah.
Even if it means breaking out the pen and paper and write a story by myself. Yeah. Which I probably should start doing. I mean, I got some ideas in my head, but the problem is trying to find the time to do them, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, especially finding the time. But I think that there's like with Let's Not Meet stories, there's this weird disconnect where I think it's a flaw in how the villain is written in those stories. Because it's always like a dude in a hoodie. And it's like, oh, he's been staring at me from across the parking lot for 20 minutes.
Right? Or
And then most of those stories end the same, like, oh, I don't know what would have happened. You know?
right. And yeah, or especially those types of stories where protagonist is playing in the park, and all of a sudden he's approached by Bubba the masturbating clown, and he starts to run away, and at the end he's like, "Let's not meet."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I understand that they're trying to mix realism with fantasy, but Jesus Christ, dude, can we at least try to find a climax into the story before you say, "Let's not meet"? I mean, what happened after that? Did he get arrested? Did he get killed? Did he move on to other towns? What? What is the end game?
There was one story I listened to where it's like from the perspective of a convenience store clerk, and the whole story I'm like, and now you call the cops, and now, no, you're not call now, please call them.
Yeah.
Well, because the whole story, they didn't move from behind the counter. You know, where the phone is.
Right?
But
It's like,
what do I know? You just gotta stand there and stare at the guy in the hoodie, even though he's outside 20 feet away, and you can see he's got a knife, but you're not gonna call anybody. All right.
right? We don't care if you're scared stiff, dude. You have your phone on you. Get the cops on speed dial. Stat.
Yeah. And isn't there in most modern convenience stores? Isn't there a lockdown procedure?
Yeah, yeah, because like I said, because of the whole pandemic, everybody is like most states are being locked down right now, and some are just given a stay-at-home order unless you have an essential job and all that stuff. And I haven't heard too much about. Well, I've seen some people release narrations of quarantine horror stories, and I haven't really listened to them because honestly, I'm not that interested in what I'm seeing in the news right now, which I should be staying away from because it's all pandemic this or murder that or catastrophe everything. But honestly, when I saw that shit, I thought it was like, come on, dude, that's too soon. Honestly, but if that's the answer you were looking for.
Well, I mean, it would be interesting if it were like true stories that were happening. Like somebody's trying to steal your shit while they think you're at work or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that could happen and everything. I mean, but in the end, why would you want to bust somebody's, some rich dude's house where they got a bunch of jewelry, cars, expensive furniture, and entertainment sets when all you're doing is just stealing toilet paper? I mean, like, what the fuck? I mean, has toilet paper replaced cigarettes in prison now?
I'm just imagining, like, come home from work, like, they left my computer and the TV's still here. Aw, shit, all the toilet paper's gone.
Oh, great. Now I gotta rely on the banana leaves outside. Bastards.
Now I gotta fight my way through the local Walmart to see if there's anything left.
Actually, you know what? Sunday, when me and my son's mother's husband, which, by the way, I live in a weird living situation, we were at Walmart the other day, and he was trying to get some small things for like Easter dinner, and I was just over there grabbing my essential shit, and curiosity struck me, and I wanted to see how bad the toilet paper towel aisle was, and I looked at it. It was like fully stocked. And I was like, huh. Sounds like
It hasn't been hit yet.
Oh no, they've been hit previously, but once I seen it was all like fully stocked, and it's like, huh. There's hope yet.
What was that? Did you see that video of the like river of people that went through the bottled water area or the bottled water aisle?
Oh no, I haven't seen that one. I think we may have to send that video to me sometime. But
yeah, I'll have to find it. Somebody took that video and put the Left 4 Dead zombie horde effect over it.
Oh my god. I definitely got to see that one.
Like, I understand panic, but what got me was, like, I hadn't done very much research, at least at the beginning of the pandemic, or what I like to call the small apocalypse. But but I'm sitting there like, why is everybody, why toilet paper? Why is that specifically the thing that people are buying? And then, for me to come to find out that's like, but it's a respiratory illness.
Right.
The hell do you need that much toilet paper for?
That,
Wait.
I'm starting to think they're acting like this whole COVID-19 shit is similar to Montezuma's Revenge. But yeah, I've been telling that joke around for a while in private DMs. But still, dude, if you need if you need to blow your nose that badly or cough into something, buy freaking tissue. Not tissue paper, toilet paper, hand tissue.
Or reusable towel. If you're at
Right.
home, just yeah. And what drives me nuts is partially I like part of me deep down can understand panic
Mm-hmm.
buying, but there's gotta be a fucking limit, man.
Right.
I'm panicking. I'm gonna buy a truckload of toilet paper, and then I'm going to sell it to other people who are also panicking.
Well, I'm pretty sure either the cops or the FBI or CIA are cracking down on those idiots right now. But that's neither here or there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it all started when, well, I knew everybody knew it started in China, but nobody knew how to react, whatever, and everybody thought, "Oh, it's in China. It's not going to spread over here." Weeks later, we gotta buy all this shit.
Well, yeah, I kept getting like messages and stuff from like family members, my parents. They're like, "Hey, so there are confirmed cases in our state." Uh, and they were checking to see if I was okay. I'm like, I don't go outside, man. I'm fine. I don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Ha- jokes on all of you. I practice social distancing first.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a good thing that everybody needs to practice social distancing, but at the same time, it's kind of tearing this nation apart. Like, you want to go out and hang out with friends, but you can't do that because the law says so.
I think it's become this bizarre, like, what's it called? There's a type of joke is that's how it's used. It's presenting an idea and then immediately giving the absolute reverse of that idea. So before all of this, you all already had your introverts. You had people who stayed in, like me. But then the running joke is that the minute that the government's like, "Hey, you should stay indoors," and everybody goes, "I don't want to stay indoors anymore because you told me to."
Yeah, it's like that one song from Rage Against the Machine. Fuck you! I won't do what you tell me.
I went and hung out with a buddy of mine the other night, and I took a lift because I believe that it's I don't think we've hit apocalypse levels yet, but I'm willing to take it seriously.
Yeah.
So I've been, instead of taking the bus, in which everybody on the bus, you kind of already have to treat it like they're sick because everybody's gross. But I take Lyft or Uber, and there was a night where around where I live, any time of night, there's always somebody on the road. And there was an evening where I had a moment of like that moment in a film where the main character realizes that the apocalypse has occurred. Because I looked out the window, I'm like, where is everybody?
Right?
Like, nobody on the road, all the parking lots are empty. I'm like, oh my god. But like I said, as long as I believe, I fucking hope, but if everybody takes it seriously and is careful, not panic buying, but as long as everybody's careful, I think we'll be okay.
I believe so too.
Well, that's the problem, though, is a lot of people are not careful, and in fact, are like, no, let's go to, like, what was that video of a bunch of teenagers going to spring break?
Oh yeah, I remember hearing that on the news. Yeah, yeah, they thought that the coronavirus wasn't gonna hit them, and they decided to be jackasses about it. But guess what? It happened.
Mm-hmm. I there's a moment that I see. I'm kind of happy it's not the zombie apocalypse.
Mm.
Oh, look, the zombies are friendly. Bite.
Right.
I know that would happen if ever we had an undead plague.
Right. But
Look, they're friendly. Bite.
and if it didn't happen, I would just say, Robert Kirkman, you lied to us.
Oh man, have you ever read the Zombie Survival Guide by Max Brooks?
I gotta be honest with you, I haven't come across it. But
It's really interesting. I highly recommend it. It's this incredibly detailed, like, all right, zombie apocalypse happens. Where do you go? What do you need to have on you? That sort of thing.
mm-hmm.
And then he followed it up with yeah, they did make a movie about it. World War Z.
Yeah.
And they had there's a story that's so World War Z, the book at least, is a collection of kind of short accounts that have to do with different infections in different areas of the world. And one that was covered, and I think it was like New York, is, from what I've seen in fiction, might be one of the bigger military mess ups ever. Where it's a line of soldiers and they're keeping like a checkpoint out of a town called, I believe it was Yonkers or something like
Right.
that. And they see a group of survivors running towards the checkpoint, but they're like panicking, covered in blood, and they're trying to get away from whatever nightmares behind them. And one of the soldiers immediately mistakes them for, like, oh god, they can run. Because the Max Brooks type of zombie is like the old style, like, Romero shambling corpse thing. So there's the soldiers like, oh god, they can run, and shoots the civilians even though they weren't bitten.
I think it comes down to the. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Well, I think zombie tales have come down to the fact where in today's society nobody is safe, and they pretty much proved it when in I don't know which movie it was. I think it was the New Dawn of the Dead. Like after the woman has a child and everything, the child dies and the woman dies, and the baby is like born a zombie right after the mother has been. So it could happen to anybody. I mean, we could be all affected right now.
And, like, I believe certain people have had that same thought process when coming to the conclusions about this current virus. Or, like, we might all be infected, man.
Yeah.
All of us.
Yeah. It'll probably be a matter of time before it starts ending its incubation phase and starts hitting us all. But I've seen it happen to the elderly, and I've seen this one video where I don't know if it was New York or LA, but medical personnel were taking body bags out of the facility and dumping them into an 18-wheeler, and
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, God damn.
The refrigeration truck, yeah. Ugh. Well, like my hope is that we get George Romero zombies and not Left 4 Dead zombies.
Right. um,
I'm hoping for Night of the Living Dead, not 28 Days Later.
God, that movie. Man, that movie was a mindfucking in itself.
Yeah, I recently rewatched that, and it's just uncomfortable for long spans of time. But the problem is, it does that really well.
Yeah. I think that's what they were going for, though.
Well, I think that movie gets an idea across better than a lot of zombie media does. It's like how bad is the problem? Because they're like yeah, like the Dawn of the Dead remake. You kind of see the first stages of the epidemic starting, or like when the like all hell breaks loose. But then with 28 Days Later, it's like it was over like that. Like everybody was sold up the river the minute that the rage virus hit.
Yeah. If I ever find the guy who started this COVID-19 virus, I'm going to wind up kicking his ass. If he's still alive.
Oh. Yeah, that's a gamble in itself nowadays.
But, I'm hoping come June, which everybody's saying come June, all this will be over and we can go back to normal. I mean, granted, we can't pretend that any of this, we can't pretend that none of this ever happened, but I'd rather we learn from it, you know? What we got to
and I think
what we got to do, what we not to do to repeat the mistakes of this year.
well, I think like for like anybody listening at home, if you're practicing self isolation and like self quarantine, even if you aren't sick but you feel you need to, good on you. And instead of like, no, I won't get sick, and then you get sick, and then you get everybody sick, and then oops. But I think it's interesting to see how people have sort of functioned in this sudden change of pace for a lot of people, because it's gone from, oh, it's not that bad, to I gotta stay home and I gotta stay indoors. And for a lot of people, that's not the most ideal situation. For me, it's ideal, but for a lot of people, they have to be out and around people, and I get that. I get that a lot.
Yeah. Think of it. Yeah. You know what? I think we're done with the whole pandemic thing. Let's move on to more happier things, shall we?
Sure thing. So, do you have any interesting stories coming up on your channel?
I actually do. I've got some fan submissions by this one author called Beautiful Nightmare, who I'm not allowed to speak to again because her husband is a dick. And, yeah.
Oh.
And if he hears this, fuck you. And I also got permission from to do a story from the Lizard Queen, which will be my next project coming up. But currently, I am working on a story written by one Timothy Duran, and well, if nobody knows who Timothy Durant is. He is formerly known as Rainier Lewington. And it's a collaboration between him and Creepy Clown Girl, which she chose me to do the story. God knows why.
That's cool.
And I've been doing some, and I'm doing another editing a story for the Horror Hive called Portuguese 2. And I'll send you a link to the Horror Hive's channel for those who want to check them out. It's pretty much a channel with a group of people who are narrators, authors, horror game players, let's players, and all that stuff. It's a great gathering and everything, and we're pretty much looking for new people right now.
Yeah. Actually, if I remember correctly, were you and I in that compilation, that's the story submission thing for Horrorhiya?
I don't remember correctly, but I might have to check into the archives and see, or ask for Reaper's Horror, who just happens to be the Hive's boss.
Yeah, wasn't it? I think it was Masks of Horror.
Yes, actually, it was actually an idea from Creepy Clown Girl. And Reaper did all the editing for everybody. I didn't really take part of that because, truth be told, I was trying to work on my own shit and everything, and I've been in too many collabs, and I was like, okay, they heard my voice. They can subscribe to me all they want. You know, I'm bad. But go ahead.
I was gonna say I saw the call for that on Twitter, and I'm not a narration channel, but I can read. and I do have a few personal, horror stories, so that's what I did. I'm like, I wear a mask, I can tell a story.
There you go. But yeah, I didn't take part in that this year, but maybe if they do a part 2, possibly. But right now, I'm just trying to do my own thing and also help out however I can.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, Horror Hive did released a video featuring my voice reading a story, and the Crow Flies, also a great narrator, probably better than me, and a little cameo from Raven Sigil, who happens to be a talented voice actress and narrator, and also a very good game player, because she used to do live streams playing these different types of video games, horror-based games, I mean. And oh no, she's a great talent. I suggest everybody go subscribe to the Horror Hive. If you haven't already, what's wrong with you?
Do it. Well, with that, I think we'll bring this to a close. It was wonderful talking to you, Evil Outcast.
Thank you for having me on. It was wonderful talking to you too.
Yeah, and I know we got talking about the apparent apocalypse, but those of you at home, thank you for sticking around to the end. Please check out Evil Outcast's channel. There will be a link provided in the description below. And I hope both you, Evil Outcast, and you at home have a safe and wonderful day.